Algorithmic power and justice. Who decides in the age of AI? By perspectives. A brass justice scale with a glowing digital brain hologram showing circuitry patterns at center. Artificial intelligence is no longer a distant promise. It is embedded in everyday systems that shape access to credit, employment, healthcare, security, and public services. Increasingly, decisions that affect people's lives are informed or even determined by algorithms. This shift raises a fundamental question: who actually decides in the age of AI? At first glance, algorithmic decision-making appears efficient and objective. By processing large volumes of data, AI systems promise consistency, speed, and predictive accuracy. Governments and institutions are adopting these systems to improve service delivery, optimize resources, and reduce human error. Yet beneath this promise lies a more complex reality. Algorithms do not eliminate power, they reorganize it. From human judgment to algorithmic decision-making. Traditionally, decision-making in public policy and institutions has relied on human judgment, guided by rules, experience, and discretion. With the rise of AI, this process is increasingly mediated by models that classify, predict, and recommend. These systems are used in diverse domains. In finance, algorithms assess creditworthiness. In public administration, they support welfare targeting and risk assessment. In law enforcement, predictive tools are used to anticipate crime patterns. In hiring, automated systems filter candidates based on predefined criteria. While these applications differ, they share a common feature. Decisions are shaped by statistical patterns derived from historical data. This introduces a critical concern. If the past reflects inequality, algorithmic systems may reproduce and even amplify it. Research has shown that algorithmic systems can inherit and reinforce bias embedded in data. For example, risk assessment tools in criminal justice have been found to produce disparate outcomes across racial groups, raising questions about fairness and accountability. Angwin et al., 2016. Similarly, studies of algorithmic fairness highlight how technical systems can encode social inequalities in ways that are difficult to detect and challenge. Barocas and Selbst, 2016. The question of power. To truly understand the impact of algorithmic decision-making, we must look beyond the elegant complexity of code and the sheer volume of data. The most critical conversations aren't just about technical specifications or processing speeds. They are about power. Who wields it? How is it encoded into these systems? And who is held accountable for their outcomes? The answers to these questions reveal the true nature of the algorithms that are increasingly shaping our world. Algorithms are not autonomous, neutral actors that descend from a purely logical realm. They are artifacts, meticulously designed, trained, and deployed by human hands within powerful institutions. Every step in this creation process is a site of decision-making, and these choices matter profoundly. Decisions about which data sets to use and which to exclude are not neutral. The choices of which variables to prioritize, which patterns to search for, and which outcomes to optimize for are not merely technical. They are inherently political. These choices embed values, assumptions, and biases directly into the operational logic of the system, often reflecting the worldview of their creators. This power operates at multiple, intersecting levels. It is present in the architectural design of the models themselves, in the legal frameworks governing the ownership of vast datasets, and in the specific institutional context where these systems are ultimately applied. Today, a small number of large technology companies and state agencies control the essential infrastructure. The cloud computing, the massive datasets, and the specialized expertise required to develop and deploy advanced AI systems at scale. This concentration of resources creates profound asymmetries of power. It fundamentally shapes who has a voice, who has influence over these critical decision-making processes, and ultimately, who benefits from the algorithmic society we are building and who is left behind. Moreover, algorithmic systems can obscure power rather than make it visible. Decisions that were once open to scrutiny may now be framed as outputs of neutral systems. This phenomenon, often described as the opacity of algorithms, makes it more difficult to question how and why decisions are made. Pasquale, 2015. Automation and the risk of deference. Beyond the data itself, another critical dynamic we must confront is the tendency toward automation bias. This is a well-documented cognitive shortcut where we place excessive trust in automated systems. When decisions are supported by algorithms, there's a significant risk that human actors will defer to the machine's output, even when their own intuition or evidence suggests the output is flawed. This isn't just laziness. It's a psychological phenomenon rooted in our desire to conserve mental energy. The automated suggestion feels efficient, authoritative, and easy. We often feel more responsible for an error we make by overriding a system than for an error the system makes on its own, a subtle but powerful pressure to comply. In high-stakes fields like medicine, finance, or criminal justice, this deference can have profound consequences. A doctor might over-rely on a diagnostic AI, potentially overlooking subtle symptoms the machine missed. A loan officer might accept an algorithm's rejection without scrutinizing the decision, reinforcing existing biases. This deference is further amplified by the perceived authority of data and technology. When a decision is presented as data-driven, it is often seen as more objective, credible, and less contestable. It's wrapped in a veneer of scientific certainty. However, this perception of infallibility can mask a host of underlying assumptions, hidden proxies, and severe limitations. The term data-driven can obscure the fact that humans still chose the data, cleaned it according to certain rules, and selected the model that would interpret it. The complexity of these systems often creates a black box effect, where even the creators cannot fully explain the reasoning behind a specific output. This opacity makes it incredibly difficult for the human in the loop to meaningfully challenge or question the machine's recommendation. They are asked to trust a conclusion without being able to inspect the logic. Ultimately, algorithmic systems are only as reliable as the data and models that underpin them. They are not objective arbiters of truth. They are reflections of the world as captured in data, shaped by incomplete information, specific modeling choices, and crucial contextual constraints. Treating them as infallible doesn't just lead to errors, it leads to systemic injustice. When we abdicate our critical judgment, we risk amplifying and automating the very biases we seek to overcome, creating cycles of disadvantage for individuals and groups who are already poorly represented or unfairly characterized in the data. The human must remain the final accountable decision-maker. Algorithmic governance and accountability. The growing reliance on AI in decision-making has led to what is often described as algorithmic governance. In this context, rules and decisions are increasingly embedded in technical systems rather than formal institutions alone. This shift raises important questions about accountability. Who is responsible when an algorithm produces a harmful or unjust outcome? Is it the developer, the institution that deploys the system, or the decision-maker who relies on its output? Current governance frameworks often struggle to address these questions. Algorithmic systems can be complex and difficult to interpret, making it challenging to assign responsibility or provide meaningful explanations to those affected. Scholars have argued for greater transparency, auditability, and oversight of algorithmic systems to ensure accountability and fairness, Diakopoulos 2016. However, implementing these principles in practice remains a significant challenge. Algorithmic power and the data justice perspective. To truly grasp the societal impact of algorithmic power, we must look beyond the code and the hardware. The complex challenges of bias, fairness, and accountability that we've discussed can be more deeply and holistically understood through the critical lens of data justice. This framework doesn't just ask if an algorithm is accurate, it asks if it is just. Data justice provides a structured way to analyze how algorithmic systems create and reinforce social inequalities. These systems fundamentally influence who is seen and heard in our digital world, how vital resources and opportunities are distributed across society, and ultimately, who holds the power to make decisions that affect millions of lives. This comprehensive view aligns with three key interconnected dimensions: representation, distribution, and governance. The first dimension, representation, concerns which individuals and communities are visible, or invisible, in the vast datasets used to train AI models. Data is not a neutral mirror of reality. It is a product of what we choose to measure and record. When certain groups are underrepresented, misrepresented, or simply erased from the data, the resulting systems may fail to serve them adequately, or worse, may actively harm them. This creates a vicious cycle where marginalization in the physical world is amplified into digital invisibility, leading to services and systems that are blind to the needs of entire populations. The second dimension is distribution, which relates to how the benefits and burdens of algorithmic systems are allocated. These systems are now gatekeepers to modern life. Algorithmic decisions can determine who gets a job interview, who is approved for a loan, what medical treatment a patient receives, and even which neighborhoods receive more policing. When these decisions are based on biased data or flawed logic, they don't just make mistakes, they systematically channel opportunities towards privileged groups and impose disadvantages on those already marginalized, deepening existing patterns of social and economic inclusion and exclusion. Finally, the third dimension, governance, addresses the fundamental question of power. Who controls these systems and who sets the rules? Currently, the development and deployment of powerful AI are heavily concentrated within a small number of large corporations and government agencies. This concentration of technical expertise, computing power, and massive data resources in the hands of a limited number of actors raises profound concerns about democratic oversight, accountability, and public participation. Without robust governance structures, the values and priorities embedded in our algorithmic infrastructure will be decided by a select few, rather than by the diverse communities they are meant to serve. Understanding algorithmic power through these dimensions highlights that AI is not just a technical tool. It is a site where questions of justice are negotiated. Rethinking decision-making in the age of AI. The challenge is not to reject AI, but to critically engage with how it is designed and used. This requires a shift in perspective. Instead of asking whether algorithms are accurate, it is necessary to ask whether they are fair, accountable, and aligned with societal values. Practical steps include improving data quality and inclusiveness, conducting regular audits of algorithmic systems, and ensuring that human oversight remains meaningful rather than symbolic. It also involves creating mechanisms for affected individuals to contest decisions and seek redress. Importantly, decision-making should not be fully delegated to technical systems. Human judgment, contextual understanding, and ethical reflection remain essential. In the age of AI, decisions are increasingly shaped by systems that operate beyond immediate human perception. This does not mean that power has disappeared. It has been redistributed and, in some cases, obscured. The central question is not whether algorithms decide, but how decisions are structured, who has influence over them, and who bears their consequences. Understanding algorithmic power is therefore essential to ensuring that the expansion of AI contributes to justice rather than deepening inequality.